loud. Let's get started. Lois, you want to start?
Good afternoon. My name is Lois Dubé. I am fine, no time constraints. Missing is Laura Rosen, Deborah Evans, and Jacqueline Limeberger. No elephants, and expectation is to make progress.
Good afternoon. My name is Arlise Williams. I am doing well. I do have a time constraint of 5 o'clock. Missing has been noted. No elephants, and expectation, make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Patrice Coates, I'm doing awesome, no time constraints. Missing has been noted, no elephants, and make progress.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chris Caucus. I'm doing well. I have no time constraints. This is noted. No elephants. Make progress.
Good afternoon, I'm Victoria Davis. I'm fantastic. I have no time constraint. Mission has been noted. No elephant and make progress.
Thank you. Rob?
Good afternoon, I'm Robert Dodig. I am well, have no time constraints. We have Barbara Cedeno. At this point, Chorus McIntosh. I say because I'm not sure it'll be her. Candy Messenger. And Dr. Kurtz. Missing. I have no elephants, and I would also like to make progress.
Good afternoon, Christine Trode. I am doing well today. I do not have time constraints, missing are noted, no elephants, and to make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Amy and I'm doing great, no time constraints, and I also would like to make progress.
Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Kelfie, I'm doing well. I have a time constraint of 2:45, no elephants, and expectation to make progress.
Good afternoon, Fernando Vasquez. I am well. I have no time constraints, and missing have been noted. No elephants, and expectations to make progress.
Good afternoon. I'm Roger Lloyd with Transportation. I'm doing well. I do not have any time constraints. Missing has been noted. No elephants, and expectation is to make progress.
Hello, I'm Cheryl, and I'm doing amazing, and I don't have any time constraints, no elephants, and I also want to make progress.
I'm Alex, doing great. I have a time constraint of 3:45. I want to continue to make progress and no elephants.
I'm Teresa Bowman, I'm doing well, no time constraints, no elephants, and I want to make progress.
Thank you, French, I'm doing well. My expectation is to help you make progress.
And I'm Donna Mutzenard, I'm doing well also, and no time constraint, and I would like to wish Amy a very happy birthday today. Miss Amy. Thank you. Yeah, she is.
Happy birthday.
Just like I wanted to say my birthday with all of you.
Like a dream come true.
That's right.
I know it's a short turnaround, but do we have minutes? Okay. All right, then we're back to compensation, and I believe the district has a presentation to give this afternoon. So Rob?
Yeah, so I will just introduce Dr. Desmore. Some folks did some real deep dive work over the last 2 days to get this option, which will ultimately be an option that we will present regarding a new salary schedule.
Okay.
And we just ask for your indulgence, and then we have some handouts and some other things that'll take place during. So you have seen some of what will be presented by Kirsten last time, but this is an add-on to that, trying to explain the option that we're gonna present, which essentially uses the bargaining authority that we have been provided. So with that, I'll turn it over to Amy.
Okay. Everybody see the both, either one of the screens?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Donna?
Everybody can see both, either one of the screens.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a lot of information to go through today, a lot of things that I know we're gonna discuss, so please don't hesitate to stop me if you have any questions as I'm going along too, because I think that's gonna be the most helpful. I don't want you to hold on to questions. If you have any, feel free to ask me, please. All right, so when we last left it, Kirsten provided us some information about what it was that the Evergreen data did and didn't mean, and then how that information is taken to create a salary structure or options for us. And so remember when we were here last time, she said that, well, the first thing that has to happen is that Evergreen needs to help us create what a new pay structure is, right? So before we can look at individuals, we have to know what the new structure looks like, how many pay grades, how broad or narrow, all of those things that you see up there, based on all the market data they got back for us, and then comparing our current salary schedules and market rates to what something new possibly would give us based on the data that they received for us. And so Kirsten also shared last time that they had recommended something, 15 grades for SPALC positions. And you see how the range is 50% between the minimum and maximum at any particular grade. Meaning that if the grade never changed, which of course it would over time, but if it never changed, and you stayed in that particular job for your entire career, you would have the ability to increase your salary by 50% over the life by going from the minimum to the maximum. So kind of that's what those are. So we have for you the new proposed pay structure. We have this on a handout that we're going to give to you right now. So I'll pause just a second, or I'll stall while Kirsten and Allie help us get the handouts out. Thank you very much. So you can really see this up close and in person, face to face, because I know that those numbers up there are very hard to see. And what this is trying to do is compare our old pay grades to our proposed new pay grades. There's 15 of them, a little bit different from the current 12 that we have now, but then you see how they kind of translate over into new ones. So for example, our current pay grade 3 starts at $16.20, and it ends at $19.99. But in the new pay grade, it would start at $17.42 and it would end at $26.42. So that spread again is about 50% in between the minimum and the maximum. And I'm sorry that says 50 cents. It's supposed to say 50%. What'd I say? 26.12. Sorry. 26.12. So does everybody see that translation of the old schedule to new schedule? And then of course, market rate will be a different story, because in the proposal or in the option, everybody comes onto this proposed pay structure in the appropriate grade, right? And so, which we'll talk about in just a minute, but this is just an illustration of what happens between our old pay grades and our new pay grades. And understand that this structure that we're talking about is something that's called an open range structure. There's a minimum and a maximum, just like you would see, or we had on the step and grade system. But the definition in between that minimum and maximum is a little bit more fluid, a little bit more flexible for us to be able to accomplish the things that we're trying to accomplish in terms of placing people appropriately within the range, to stretch out and try to eliminate some of the compression that we have and be able to continue to do that over time. So the open range system is gonna give us a little bit more flexibility in order to do that, but still preserving the same minimums and maximums at the grade, that same ones that you would see kind of in a 7th grade system. But open range gives a little bit more flexibility. Right? So then the second step is, all right, so we have our new pay structure, or an option for a new pay structure, I would say, but then what happens to every job within the pay structure? So every job has to be placed in the new pay structure itself or assigned a grade, a paid grade, based on the information that we got from our market study, and then also based on what it is that we're trying to preserve as far as the individual positions and how they relate to each other in the structure that we know that we have within the school district. And so today, we also have a handout for you that actually lists all of our current positions, their current pay, grade, and or market rate on our current system, and what the proposed pay grade would be on the proposed new system. So I'll give a minute for that to come around. Ooh, it's got some color on it too. Y'all are real fancy and expensive over here. I love you though, thank you for doing that. I'm gonna take you, everybody have one? Okay, good, so I'll just take you through the handout so you can see that it lists the job title, and then the current pay, either the current pay grade and or market rate, right, if it has one. And then there was a proposed pay grade that Evergreen gave us, and then we did make some proposed changes to some of those based on some of the information that we have talked about either in bargaining or in labor management, i.e. the difficulty filling the positions, how many vacancies we might have had in certain positions throughout the year or throughout several years, just information that was possibly unique to us as a district. We wanted to react to that. And so that last column you will see is these are our proposed pay grades in the option based on kind of all the things that we talked about. So you can see what the management proposed pay grade was, and then you can compare that to what the minimum and maximum range is on that proposed pay structure. There are various things that are highlighted on the sheet in yellow, and those highlights mean that we don't have a placement for those particular positions yet. And it could be because, number one, we didn't have any people in those particular job descriptions. And so because we didn't have any people in those job descriptions, they didn't give us any information back for those. And I think, and for others, if we did have somebody in a position, I think all of them we didn't. But if we do have someone in a position and we find that we do, we'll have to continue to work and refine this. So we wanted to share this because we knew we had 99% of what we needed. And Arlise, I see you with a question.
Amy, I see that they have early childhood on here.
Yeah.
So I think early childhood basically have all of their positions filled. So my question is it one particular position in early childhood, or is early childhood on here because they also get, I know some of them, grant money is also a factor.
Do you mean the one highlighted in yellow? Is that what you mean?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the one highlighted in yellow, it is it's one job description.
Gotcha.
It's one job description that is specifically early childhood specialist parent educator. And that's one that, I believe we don't have anyone in, which is why we didn't get information back for that.
Okay.
That's just one job description.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, you good?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so that was step two. So step one was we had to create a new pay structure, which is on that proposed pay structure that you have on the long sheet. And then number two was how do our positions fit into this proposed pay structure? And this is step two of that process, or step two of the proposal itself, right? So I know that there's probably a lot of conversation to be generated on the positions and the placements themselves. We wanted you to see kind of where we were going and what we were thinking. So then the third step to it is, so now the question was, how does this impact an employee's pay? And remember Tuesday when we talked, the answer was, well, to be determined, because then, all of these steps had to be followed. So we're following the steps. So now the option that we're proposing kind of looks like this, and we'll go through them. So first of all, each employee is assigned to a pay grade in the new structure, which according to this list that we provided. So that person's, or each person's current hourly rate is compared to the minimum hourly rate of the proposed pay grade, right? So the proposed pay grade. And then if that person's current hourly rate is less than the minimum of the new proposed pay grade, then that person will be brought up to that minimum hourly rate. If that person's current hourly rate is more than what the minimum is, then the person will still get a minimum increase at that point of 2%. As long as that person doesn't bump up to the maximum amount in the pay grade. You bump up to the maximum of the pay grade, you're only getting up to the maximum in the pay grade. But other than that, you're gonna get that 2% minimum moving from from our current pay system to our new proposed pay structure. Unless you bump up to the maximum of your grade, you're gonna get at least that minimum 2%. And then if you need more because you're moving to the minimum of your new hourly rate at that new pay grade, you would receive more. That's the conversion from one to the other. And then with any funds that we had remaining, then we would give percentage, or the option is to give percentage increases to employees based on their years of service to alleviate compression, or to help begin to more alleviate compression. And the percentages that we're talking about are up there on the slide. So if you're less than a year in, then you're not gonna receive anything additional. If you're between 1 and less than 7, you're gonna get additional 1%, 7 to 14, 1.5, and then less than 20 to 2, and then 20 or greater, 2.5%, that is. Again, always in mind not to, to bump up to the max of the pay grade structure that that we have. Yes, ma'am, Patrice.
Thank you. I did have, when you were saying bump up to the maximum, is someone that goes, has the maximum number of years, correct?
No, I'm sorry, maximum amount of the pay grade, right? So looking at the proposed pay structure, if I'm proposed to move to a pay grade 3, the maximum at pay grade 3 is $26.12. So if I currently have an hourly rate, say of $26, then, and my position is proposed to transition into the pay grade 3, I'm not gonna go higher than $26.12.
So they won't go to another grade, they won't go to 4?
No.
It's just vertical?
No, it would be whatever the proposal of the pay grade is.
Okay.
Right? So if the position is proposed to go to pay grade 3, I'm already at $26 an hour. The max I'm gonna go to is $26.12. Period. I'm not gonna go over the max.
So what if the percentage takes you over the max? Doesn't matter. If your percentage,
Yeah, so you're saying if to apply the other 2.5%? No.
matter.
Well, it does, you're not gonna go over the max.
26.
Exactly. So your percentage would be capped at that point.
Okay, so that'll be the ceiling.
Yeah, that would be your ceiling.
Okay, thank you.
And it's not gonna go above that, but as long as you're below that, you're gonna get up to those amounts. Or up to those percentages, I should say. Yes, ma'am. So in this particular option, let's just talk about what it looks like for people, because just to kind of put a little bit more concrete to the abstract maybe. So in this scenario, with current staffing in place, right, looking at our people as they line up now, what their current hourly rates are. In this scenario, it's spread out pretty evenly in that over 30% of employees receive a raise that's greater than 5%. They have transitioned over to the new salary schedule, and then based on that, at their pay grade, they're more than 5%. There's 35% of the people that receive a raise like between 4 and 5%, so kind of right there at the average, and then 30% that would receive less than 4%. But within the kind of how it distributes out on the right-hand side of the slide there, the average increase just based on years in the district, because we wanted to provide some information in order to kind of have some conversation about this. So if you're greater than or equal to 15 years in the district, then the minimum increase that person would see would be 3.38. Maximum, a little over 12.5, but an average of 5%, as you would expect if we were gonna fall into our bargaining authority that we had. But then when you look at the same, let's flip and look at people that are less than 15 years, the minimum increase somebody would see is 2%, right? Because remember we said there was that minimum increase in there of 2%. So the minimum somebody would see was 2%. There is a max of a little over 25%. It's kind of a little outlier. It was an individual, and then underneath that it was around 15%. But again, the average for those that are less than or equal to 15 years is about 5%. So one of the things that we wanted to analyze in the option was, are we fixing the problem that we were trying to fix, basically? Are we getting closer to trying to alleviate compression, trying to move people into better competitiveness with the market, kind of positioning our salary schedules and how positions are placed in them in order to do that? Based on the information that we have now, it's pretty evenly distributed. We didn't want to tilt to people who were newer, because that would exacerbate the compression that we had. Didn't necessarily want to tilt too much towards people who had been here a long time, because we know that everybody is desirous and of course in need of increases. And you see that spread, that kind of 33, the third. It's just a piece of information that you have that it's like, well, and it's a piece of information that we know people will want to know. So how do these increases really spread out? Because it is different territory now that we're entering into, where increases might be different for different people, but it's all based on the information that we received and how we're trying to transition over to a new open range schedule, and this kind of allows us to do that. Ms. Patrice? No, okay. Okay, all right, I get that.
Chris, you have a question?
Could you give me a specific example? Take a plumber, for example. Let's say he's got better than 15 years. What would they be looking at?
Well, let's see. A plumber, I'm sorry, let me find them on our list here. So a plumber right now, our market rate for plumber is $25.24. So we're gonna assume that this individual that we're talking about makes $25.24 an hour. Then we're proposing that that person would move to a pay grade 7 on the new salary schedule. That person, if I'm looking at pay grade 7 on the new salary schedule, the minimum is $21.99, the maximum is $32.98. So if I'm this person, this plumber, and I'm already making $25.24, I'm already above the minimum at a pay grade 7, so at that point, I would get a 2% increase. So somebody help me out, 25.24 times 0.02 should be about another 50 cents, if I'm doing that correctly. So that would be give or take a little bit, right? So I would move to $25.74 at that point, so that's about a 50-cent increase at that point. And then I have to say, what is that person's years of experience in the district? So you tell me, how long have I been here? Oh, 15 years?
I'm just curious to see where
Okay.
matching up to what I'm thinking it is, I'm not.
Okay, so if I've been here 15 years, then that's another 2% with that. And so, yeah, hold on, we're doing it right now because I don't trust my head math right now because I'm a little tired, a little run down, I don't want to say the wrong thing. But overall, the person will receive somewhere around like 4.5% increase, right? So because there was that 2% plus the other 2.5 because I have been here 15 years, so 4.5% increase, as long as that 4.5 doesn't bump me up or take me over the maximum at the grade of $32.98, of which it does not. I'm a little over $26.25 at that point. So, did that answer your question?
Fine. I I'm trying to wrap my mind around this still, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, ask them. Ask all the questions. Ask away because I know it's very different. But again, that person would be looking at around about a 4% increase because they got the 2 to move to the new salary schedule, and then another 2 because they were 15 years in the district, 2% that is, and that did not take them to the maximum in their new pay grade. So 4%. Right, and that's in relation or relative to the option that fits into the bargaining authority that we have for this year. Ms. Arlise?
Amy, I'm looking at like the job titles, right, in
Ma'am?
my department. Some jobs pay grade is at a lower pay grade now, and some jobs are at a higher pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please, let me know why that is? Because I'm looking at some of these job, titles,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not hard to stand as other, but I see that pay grades have gone up, and that just looks strange to me.
Give me an example of.
You can look at transportation, almost everything in transportation, has gone up, and, some of the positions have gone down. So when I get with my team, I'll get them to look at their job descriptions or titles also to see have they gone down. That just really, really stuck out to me.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, Amy, give me what was the pay grade Okay, the current pay grade, I see it now, wait a minute. So, on bus drivers, they don't have the current, why don't they have the current, pay grade? Because that's supposed to be market rate?
It's a market rate, 1890.
Interesting, okay.
That's the current.
Okay, so Evergreen is 4%, then,
But pay grade 4,
yeah, pay grade 4.
Yeah.
And the proposal is 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what is at this current drummer trainers, what are they, I just answered it, 7.
6. Oh, their current pay grade, I'm sorry. I thought you were looking at the proposed, yeah.
Okay, so let me ask this question, make sure I understand it. So if a person is at the max, and then you're saying they won't get anything. So anybody that's been with the district and they're at, say, for the sake of people listening, they're at step 99, then with this proposal, they would not get a raise at all?
No, that's not what I was saying. What I was saying was in the translation or into the new salary schedule, the new proposed pay grades, if their current hourly rate now is at the maximum of the new pay rate, then they would not get any more than that. Nobody's gonna go to more than the maximum in hourly rate in their assigned pay grade. So that doesn't mean that just because they're step 99, they're not getting anything.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, everybody in this scenario gets something, minimum of 2%, for those that are less than 15 years, and actually a minimum of a little over 3 if they're more than 15 years. In the current scenario, with the current staffing that we have, right, there's nobody that doesn't get anything.
I'm sorry, was there one that they went, the pay grade went down?
Well, I kind of answered my own question when I was talking to Amy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at, how pay grades got switched from current, Evergreen into what the proposal is.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of answered my own question. I just had to go over that.
That's why we talk it through.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, nothing.
Okay, Amy, do you have anything more to add?
I mean, no, not really. This is kind of encompasses the option as it is, and this option is, fits within the bargaining authority that we have. And just, to kind of 3 steps to the option. Number 1, moving everybody to, the new pay structure, the new pay schedule, according to the proposed grades that you have on the handout. With a potential minimum increase of 2%, of course, in keeping in mind or restricted by the maximum on in the pay grade itself, and then additional increases based on years of service to alleviate compression, or to begin to alleviate compression, because this is a step, this is a multi-step process, and this is the first part of that in trying to incorporate this information that we've received from the salary study. Okay, so all of it is up to discussion, right? We'll probably have a lot of discussion about the different positions and pay grades that they're proposed, and how that would be given our unique circumstances. Are there changes that we want to propose to that, or are there tweaks that either other information that you'd like to see related to this particular option, or tweaks that you would like to see, or other information that you'd like brought back, which we would be happy to do. So that's where, the conversation will go from here. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Patrice?
Yes, last, Tuesday, I think what stuck out to me was that 6%, and I asked, I can't remember her name. Yeah. And asked her, was that part of a formula? And it's on your slide also, the 6%.
Between the pay grades itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
How does that 6% play into the formula of calculating, is it calculating, I see your shaking, nothing?
It doesn't play into it at all, it'll become into developing the
Okay,
picture structure.
okay. So that's the, okay.
Yeah.
Makes
Well,
sense.
and I guess how it plays into, not necessarily to the option, but just into the structure itself and what people can expect in the pay scale, which to some extent is what we have now, is that we kind of know what to expect when you're moving or you're progressing from one position to another, from one pay grade to another. So if you're making some promotionary step, moving from a one pay grade to another, then that is, like, it's value 6% each pay grade. So, or, you know what I mean? So, it's a progression in the salary schedule based on, how you might move from one pay grade, one position, one pay grade to another.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's not part of the formula that calculates, it's just a stationary.
Inside of this option, no, it's
Okay.
just stationary.
Okay, gotcha.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
Now, we'll do, of course, every, positions are in time, right? So in the future, in the administration of the salary schedule, that's part of what compensation would do, is that they would take positions, some each year and kind of reevaluate them against what we have, and does it still look right with the market? Are there adjustments that they were proposed to make based on what's happening in the market or what's happening in the district? And that's something that would be done on an ongoing basis.
Thank you.
Chris?
Some kind of stupid list of, I don't understand, how, in the proposed pay structure, are you starting, everybody's at the midpoint? Is that the market rate that I can't get the translation between where the numbers originate.
Okay, when you say where the numbers originate from, which numbers?
You have a proposed pay structure, but I can't see what is I'm not understanding the translation. You're not basing it on years of service, are you? I mean, so if somebody was at, according to this, let's say, we use the plumber as an example, I think you said,
The new proposal would be 7.
so, but you're saying, but if they had 15 plus years of service, would that be considered the highest rate of that proposal?
No, not necessarily. So they're gonna translate over into a new pay grade with, by doing that, a minimum increase of 2%, and then get some additional percentage based on their years in service.
Still not understanding. I don't know. So what is the purpose of showing this? I'm not really. No, I understand what you're doing there.
Yeah.
But it seems to be completely different than what the proposed pay structure is.
So 15 years doesn't equate to the midpoint. That's not where the midpoint's written, right? It's not like a step where if you start at step 1. It's not like steps where if you start at step 1, you're gonna get the minimum, and then every year you're gonna get an increase so that at 15 you're at the midpoint. That's not necessarily what this is translating to. Could that occur over time? That might occur over time, but not as we're translating in from the old structure to the new structure of what this is looking like.
So you're saying the old structure is the market rate, which is more or less midpoint. Close to it.
Market rate and midpoint aren't the same thing. I don't want anybody to think that those are the same thing, because they're not.
So Chris, the old market rate was at the 40th percentile. But the person you're using as a hypothetical has 15 years of experience, so they're gonna be on the proposed pay structure within that range of 2199 to 3298. Where they fall within there is not gonna match one of these numbers. That's a range. You can earn up to 3298 at that pay grade. Follow me?
I do, I'm just, again, I'm not sure what purpose it serves other than.
Okay, so I
You see what he's
just
saying?
explain to me what I think you're asking.
I think he wants to know, because the experience is not within these numbers. That's something different.
You're just showing paper.
Yeah, it's a pay range, right? I think you were saying, okay, well, on this proposed pay structure, I have a minimum, I have a maximum, and I have a midpoint. So what does that necessarily have to do with the price of tea if I'm not being placed at one of these? But the whole point of the open range is, so these three pieces of information, the minimum, the midpoint, and the maximum of the proposed pay structure are just pieces of information. So just like on the old, or on the current, I guess I should say, salary schedule on pay grade 3, the range of pay is from $16.20 to $19.99. That's the current range of pay. Now there's 16 steps in between that, but the range of pay is $16.20 to $19.99. What this new structure is saying is the range of pay at a new pay grade 3 would be $17.42 to $26.12. That's the range of pay. Anyone on that pay grade can make kind of anywhere in that range. It's not like limited to actual amounts on steps. Anyone on that pay grade can make anywhere in that range depending on how they translate over to based on their current hourly rate plussed up by 2% or moving to the minimum of the new pay grade that they're moving to, whichever, and then plus a percentage based on their years of service. That's the first step in us transitioning to a new salary schedule. And then in the future, we continue to build on that.
Okay, but can anybody with 50 plus years ever make it to that based on those numbers?
Over time, yes.
Over time, but then it's, okay, but it's not a, but that's gonna, those numbers are gonna change over time simultaneously.
Yes,
So
you would hope that they would. Yes. Mm-hmm. Did I?
Yeah,
So one of the things we also wanted to offer as an option is the fact that Human Resources would commit to complete a market analysis each year on 1/3 of the SPALC positions to determine if market conditions support a change in the grade, which I think is something some of you have already asked about. So how would we keep this up to date? So we would just simply have to specify when that would be done, and we would ask SPALC to identify the positions that they want reviewed at a period certain, like 30 days before bargaining or 60 days before bargaining. And then our compensation department, which Kirsten leads in HR, would do that work.
Lois?
I was gonna ask if Rob could repeat that one more time.
So basically, Human Resources would complete a market analysis. We would commit to 1/3 of the SPALC positions. to determine if market conditions support a change in the grade assignments. And if you look at the proposed pay structure, those are the items on the left that go from S1 to S15. And then we would come up with, and I say come up with because we're throwing an option out there, that would be SPALC informing the district 30 or 60 days prior to bargaining which positions they would want to be reviewed for the upcoming contract. Yes. I'm assuming what we just presented, what Amy just presented would be option 1. And then that could be option 2.
I just wanted to be sure that I was answering Chris's question, or I was meeting you on the road where you were at. Did that help at all, or not really?
I understand. Honestly, it almost seems like a little bit of a false leader at this point when you're showing those numbers that on the max end. So nobody's really going to be able to achieve those higher numbers, regardless of the plan.
Well, I mean, somebody does, that's where the numbers came from. That's not hypothetical. That's based on actual people.
Only if they can change the pay. But not,
Yeah.
not just.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know how people will be able to move within the open ranges if they drop the open ranges, how would people be able to move within them?
Okay, or I think maybe what I heard that you saying is, give us an example of how that, a range or something like 12.5% is, how does that happen? Or what scenario is that? Or what does that look like? Or is that what you're asking?
I guess in my mind, I'm trying to relate it to a step system, which is.
And it's not.
There is no relationship to the step system in this proposed pay structure.
Correct.
Right, it is not that, it is different.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, well.
Yeah, we'd like to caucus.
Okay. Time frame? We'll go with 20 to start with. Okay. The district gonna caucus? Yes, okay. The district is going to caucus as well, so that means, you have a room or are you gonna stay here? Okay, that means everybody has to leave this room. So those of you who are out in the audience, you need to go out to the hallway, please. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, you called the caucus, so would you like to give us your report out, please?
Sure, yeah, we sat down and just kind of really started looking at the charts and the information, and it's really just too condensed, I think, for us to make such a big decision. We need some more information. And the percentages for the employees, most of them are getting maybe 2%. I mean, I feel like the percentages are just way too low. So, that's.
Okay.
And is the salary study 100% complete?
For your part of it, yes. SPALC's part of it, yes.
Okay. Rob, you want to report out?
Sure, so we discussed our option and your reaction to it. I also wanted to tell you that we also, this was our first go at it, so there are some tweaks to refine the option if we're gonna proceed that we would like to make that possibly could make it more palatable in some way. I will respond to what Lois just said by saying we would like to know what more information thereafter, because I think that's important. Because we don't meet again until July 15th, so if we could provide that or provide other options, things like that, we're more than willing to do that.
Okay, go ahead.
I think what we were thinking is having maybe a group of people in a chart just to kind of see how they move, like an employee that was in this job category this many years, things like that, just so it helps kind of builds a story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we can certainly do that.
Okay, anything else?
I guess there's a few things I'd like to ask you guys. One, it's my understanding that Evergreen told you that one of the ways to get this down was through a real step system, not what we had in the past. One that actually reoccurs every year and goes for 15 steps or a block system, whatever, you know. I'm not really sure how you guys are coming up with this, and the problem I see with it is we all look at it. There's no guarantee of getting this money. I see this as a problem getting employees up front. I look at the electrician, I think the starting pay of like $20, you're not gonna find anybody that walking in. Secondly, there is no guaranteed increase of pay. I mean, that was, as I said in the last go around here, that's one of the incentives. If you're in a SEP system, you say, well, I'm willing to come through the door for a lesser rate of pay, with it, you know, thinking that at some point in time you're gonna get to that higher level. But it sounds to me like this is getting within this proposed structure that this is being negotiated each and every time, every year. And that's if you want to go out and get the max. In addition to that, you guys showed us these numbers last time, which is an actual step system. And over 15 years, and this is the average. I mean, we're so far behind the average, not the midpoints and all that. I mean, I was hoping they were going to come up with a plan to get us to where we're supposed to be within this service. These numbers aren't even close. Well, unless I'm wrong, but it's way up. And I know my constituents don't want to see this. This is and again, I want to say we're not looking for anything special. We just want to be treated fairly. We've been behind now, probably 10 plus years. And once I've been caught in the middle, this is ongoing, year after year after year. And it looks like, you know, we're looking to elevate the top some more. We're gonna take some from the bottom. This is, I'm not getting it.
Okay. Right. Rob, you want to respond to Chris?
Well, not necessarily directly, but I will say that if you recall, over the last almost 20 years that I've been involved in collective bargaining here, steps have been suspended, they have not been given. I mean, we have bargained all kinds of different things over the years. So I do not say that to disagree that a person may know, but a person would know if they're on grade 7 that they could make up to $32.98 an hour. So I'm not quite sure I understand your concern because it's not the traditional step and grade system, but employers are getting away from that. And we commissioned this study to see what comparable employers were paying our similar positions. So you use the words, we've been behind. Our comparable positions are not in the private sector. They're public employers. And so I'm well aware of what an electrician could potentially make out in the private sector. But they're not working 255 days a year and 8 hours a day either. So, and receiving the benefits that we receive in this district. So the comparisons were to public employers. So when you mention the words behind, we actually look pretty good when you look at what this market rates were that Evergreen produced and where we're at. So this is just the first option. And I encourage you all to provide us what you need. I mean, we're interested in spending $7.2 million, but we have to get away from both the step and grade system we have and the market rate. I think we agree collectively that the way we're currently paying SPALC, and N for that matter, has not been efficient. And we want to figure out a better way to do that and make our pay comparable to what we consider our market competitors.
Okay. Chris?
I'd like to respond here. For starters, the comparisons I'm talking about is what you handed out on these sheets from Evergreen. And these are the ones that we're that far behind. This is about, what my understanding was 13 other public school districts. And if you look at the minimum and maximums on these different positions, we're that far away. And it's like I said, this has been happening over many years. And unless I'm wrong, what I'm seeing, what you've handed out, in addition, I don't know, why don't they just put this through a step system? Why not have that as an option? Do a true step system. Granted, maybe you don't have all the money to get it there immediately, but maybe, come up with a plan to make it happen. It seems to me it would be in the best interest of the school to have a system like that. Where again, you can look at it, coming in the door and say, I know I'll get to this point at some point in time. But now, I hate to say it, the writing's on the wall. People are coming in and seeing what's happening, and they don't want any part of it. And maybe not for all the positions, but I can certainly vouch for the ones in the maintenance department. So this is way too far for way too long. It's just, I hope we can do something better than this.
Well, you may also put up options. It doesn't just have to be the district. So if you want to put it up an option for a step.
My option is to go back to a traditional step system and using the Evergreen study to taking their numbers, which were averaged out, and you guys paid for it, or we paid for it, however you want to put it, and let's use that.
So your option is, you're gonna create a step thing, or?
We have one from Evergreen, right here, 15 steps. Maybe.
Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, okay, thank you, I hear you. That feedback is helpful in terms of trying to kind of understand, get some more information about where we can zero in on to either provide more information, explain better, and then also bring additional information. So that, what you're saying is I'm hearing.
Okay, Tori?
Why only 1/3 of the jobs are gonna be taken? Why not all of them? You said we can come up with 1/3 of the position.
You mean in the second option here?
Yes.
Okay.
Why not all of them? Why only 1/3?
So I think so just to clarify, to make sure we're on the same page, we just did all of them, right? All of them. And then going forward, all of them are gonna be analyzed in a cycle. They're not all gonna be taken at the same time, but it's just you take a few, a third, so that in a 3-year cycle, you kind of reanalyzed everything all over again. So I'm not sure if that's what you heard or whether you heard something else.
Yeah, but who picks the 1/3? We pick the 1/3 or you pick the 1/3?
According to the option you do. SPALC does. Elise?
And Ms. Sonic, if I can, we would like to put an option up for the district.
Okay, hold on a second, I think we finish that before you start your option.
Will be longer than this part here, Elise.
Okay.
Is it gonna be longer than the space that's left on that page?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Otherwise, we'll just start a new page.
Something's going on here. No, so our position is, we want to put up an option for the district to choose, the 1/3. We don't want to choose. The district have way more employees than us, right? We don't want to choose, because we're not trying to adopt, any more work. And I just think it would be, it's best for the district to choose and not us. Because we don't need to look at, people don't look at us like we're, showing any kind of favoritism.
Okay, anything else? Arlise?
Amy, can you, tell me again, what happens if anyone meets the maximum? At that point, they don't qualify for raises anymore, not even, cost of living? I know we don't have.
Do you mean in the future, like after the transition in?
Yes.
I think that's subject to bargaining at that point, right? The point would be that, or the general concept would be, once you cap out, you cap out. But there's other ways to deal with that, whether that be, at some point, the whole scale or the whole grade may be adjusted, which would then take them underneath the cap, or a bonus structure or something. So there are all different types of ways to kind of deal with that, but that's bargainable material at that point.
Okay, thank you. So if I am correct, we're trying to get the school district wishes to get everyone to the midpoint, is that correct?
No, the school district wishes to get everyone on the new proposed pay structure at the appropriate pay grades. One may or may not be at midpoint.
Okay. But some might be at midpoint, correct?
Sure, some might be, yeah, sure.
Okay.
And some could be over, right.
right, next, Lois.
Yeah, going back where you had the breakdown, where you said 30% would receive 5%, 35 would be between 4 and 5, and 30 less than 4. Do you have a more breakdown of what that looks like?
Do you mean like you want to see like each percentage between 1 and 2, between 2 and 3, 3, 4, 4, like that?
Yeah.
Sure, could bring it back next time, absolutely.
Okay.
Chris?
Is it, I don't know if this is a data request, is it possible to find out how many of the schools that were compared on this evergreen study were on an automatic step system?
We'll bring back what information we can. When you say automatic step system, you just mean step system, or do you mean, because any step system anybody is on is subject to bargaining. It doesn't guarantee anybody is stepping any given year. So you just really want to know of the ones that we looked at, how many were on a step system, is that right? Okay, okay.
Call that an automatic step system with those numbers occur every year, or a percentage occurs every year regardless of what's negotiated.
Okay, yeah, understand the question. We'll get the information we can get.
Anybody else? Arlise?
Thank you, Ms. Hunter. I did want to say is our concern, because of course, as the union, we have to do, what's best for all employees. And, just the thought of somebody might not get a raise at all, that is bothering our team because everything is just so expensive. So, I mean, we just want to make sure that we keep in mind that, yes, we do want to do something for the compression, but to leave a group out, we're just not willing to leave anybody out. And this is a lot of information. And as a team, yeah, we need to look over it or whatever and try to make the best decision for all people. Because I do see after, looking at the information closely, it is some positions, some job titles that have moved from one pay grade that was lower up to a higher pay grade, and those people will be, I'm assuming, getting paid that amount in their wages. Some positions have stayed the same, some positions have been higher and lower, like I said. And our thing is to, with the bargaining authority, to make the best decision for all employees and not just some.
Okay, Amy?
Yeah, I would say, I believe from the district's perspective, completely agree with that. In this scenario that we talked about today, there was no one that was not getting anything because we are with you on that. It wasn't the intent, which is why kind of a minimum was built in there. So in this particular scenario, based on the current people we have, there was nobody that was getting nothing. So the minimum across the board was 2%. So just to make sure that we had said that. And then, yeah, I hear you. And just to point out, like for the salary schedules on the current pay structure, because I know you were saying, well, some pay grades are going down, some pay grades are going down. And I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I understand what you're saying. So say, for example, on our current structure, pay grade 6, if you're a pay grade 6, step 1, on the current structure, that's $17.16 an hour. But then when you go to the new pay structure, even if you're on pay grade 4, that's $18.46 at the minimum. So even though the pay grade might have gone from a current 6 to a new 4, the rate itself is still higher. So I don't know when you're saying, oh, they went down, whether that's what you were referring to. Like it went from 6 to a 4, 5 to a 4, whatever the case may be, but that doesn't mean that the rate itself went down. So was I hearing you right? Is that what you were?
Absolutely.
Okay,
You
okay.
right with me, thank you.
Okay.
It's a lot of information.
It is, it's a lot, that's why, yeah. Hey, look, we expect to have a big, long conversation today about just this, right? Because we want to make sure that we're on the same page, and that's why I was asking, I wanted to make sure I was hearing you ask that question, that I was answering the question that you were asking, but. So yeah, for sure, but I hear you, that's still a conversation that we need to have, that's why this whole list of all of these jobs with the pay grades, are these exactly right? Do we need to adjust some? Do we need to tweak our options? Do we need to put a maximum in play? And then therefore, the rest of, dollars can be distributed a little bit more amongst others. So those are all the things that we can talk about and continue to tweak, which is what we talked about in our caucus that Rob mentioned. There's a couple of things that's like, oh wait, if we did that, we might be able to, do a couple of other things. So yeah, it's a conversation, and we're open to it, to ultimately getting to the best deal that we can for all employees, just like you said.
Okay. Amy, so let me ask you a question. So with the option that we was given today, do that option, total the 7.1 million?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Thank you.
Carlos, would you pass it down to Chris, please? Thank you.
If I could, I just wanted to ask you guys, on this evergreen study, what part of it did you use? What was the, sounds to me, that you're really trying to fit the numbers to what the school board is given in money, and not to what the surveys actually show.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out how to answer that. Well, in any option that we formulate, we have to fit into the bargaining authority that we have. So yeah, the option is fitting into the bargaining authority that we have, based on the fact that, as we talked about this, we say, hey, look, this isn't a one-year deal, this isn't a one-year shot. We know we have some work to do over a period of, hopefully a short period of time, a couple of years or a few years, to kind of progress through. So yes, the option does fit into the bargaining authority that we have. However, the new pay structure that is proposed really does take into account where the study says that pay grades, pay ranges, and medians should be for particular jobs. And now we're talking about how can we get everybody on that new structure and then progress them through the structure. No, yeah, you were looking at me like you didn't really answer that question.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
It's a moving target at that point, but needless to say, what stops you from going back to the school board and asking for more money to come up closer with this wage study was done? Again, they've been behind for a long time. If it was just 1 year or a couple of years and playing catch up, we're probably talking 10 plus years that there's a large group of people that have been stagnating in these jobs. I'll give one example. When I started here, the people that were stepped out at that time were making more than I make now, and I should be stepped out. Something's very wrong with this. So this is what this is what my constituents are telling me routinely, that it's really out of kilter. And the wage study seems very accurate with what the numbers have shown, and it's also fairly accurate in terms of where the people that have stepped out within the school department on the high range and stuff would be.
Anything else? I don't see any other questions or comments. Rob?
I'm not sure I'm saying
Okay. Just get the mic, got it. All right, anybody else? I know you mentioned several times, this is a lot of information, and it is a lot of information. And our next meeting is July 15th, which should give everybody plenty of time to look at it. If you put up the option of a regular step system, maybe you can work on some numbers with that, that would hold it. Yeah, 2 to 5. And that week is 3 days in a row we've scheduled, so. Arlene, what's the matter?
She said we did, I say, yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. We did.
None of us really remember doing it.
What's the word available? Lois said, I wasn't here.
But with enough time, maybe we won't need all 3.
Right.
So, Rob?
And I'll just say to Lois and Arlise that obviously we can communicate during these next 3 weeks. If you guys have some ideas, thoughts, similarly from us, we'll do the same. So we can be prepared on the 15th, and it's not like our first bargaining session again. I will be out of town the 4th of July week, but other than that, it should be around.
Okay.
Yeah, Amy, I just wanted to ask, when I asked for the chart maybe that shows where people's progression is, that we pick select employees with different years, is that something that we could get before the 15th, so we can have time to analyze it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Rob? No? All right, then I think we've reached the limit for this afternoon. 4:03. And I guess, Rob?
Yeah. Along with what I just said, if you have questions now that you have all that stuff and whoever you consult and deal with, certainly send them our way, obviously. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Rob. All right, with that, we'll call it an afternoon, and we will see you July 15th. Anybody who's taking vacation, enjoy, rest and relax. I know most of the people down at the district office do not at this time of year, but, and enjoy the Philadelphia guys.